What's up, guys? It is July 2nd, 2021. It is 4th of July weekend. Will, it's Friday. I'm repping America's team. You're repping America in general. Will, how we doing, buddy?
I'm stoked, man. It's one of the funnest weekends of the year. Last year, you know what's crazy? It's been a year since I got COVID, so I'm glad I survived.
Hospital Will this time last year.
Yeah, it sucks. Seeing everyone having a great time. Now I'm better and I can have fun. Repping the best country. No, man, I'm excited. It's going to be a really good weekend. You're repping America's team, and I'm glad you have the Jarvis Landry energy today. Was there a reason you chose it in particular?
Bless him. You know, I woke up, I needed a little motivation. I went to the Hard Knocks video, saw Jarvis talking to the wide receiver room. If you ain't hurt, you better be practicing.
Yeah.
You know, these motherfuckers ain't getting better if they're not on the practice field. You're only hurting me. You're hurting yourself. Like, I'm the best one in this room, and I'm still out there practicing. Like, we're all hurting. You know what, Juice? I felt that. I needed that this morning. Will got me out of bed early. I was rudely woken up at 1:30 in the morning last night. I'm not getting into that right now. Not going to do it.
We might get into it at the end of the show.
Maybe. But for right now, we're motivated. We're here. Let's have a day.
So for whatever reason, this has to be an American tradition because Americans just have to have some sort of weird competition in anything, right? The hot dog eating contest, we have to mention this because it's kind of gnarly. I would never do a hot dog eating contest. So Joey Chestnut, aka Jaws, he basically deep throats these hot dogs like it's no one's business every fucking time. Can you do that again? No, it's gnarly, man. Would you ever do a hot dog eating contest?
Fuck no. I have I don't eat the most food in the world. Like, I couldn't do it. I get like
you
two
do
hot
eat like a
dogs.
bird. I've noticed that.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'd get like two down and be like, I'm done.
So I was getting a haircut yesterday, and they had those 30 for 30s.
Mm-hmm.
It was called The Good, Bad, and the Hungry, and it was basically highlighting Kobayashi and that awesome Japanese eater and Joey Chestnut, and I'm just like, just watching it is fucking gnarly. Like, I just think of just all the horrible time. I hate throwing up. I think everyone hates puking, and like I'm just thinking the whole time, like the way however Dale did that whole thing.
That's
like,
how it could be.
Yeah, it's so disgusting. But that'll be on Sunday.
Not fun.
But there's other great traditions about the 4th of July. I mean, are you doing anything? You gonna lay low or are you gonna go hard? Because you've gone hard about 360 days of the year. Now we get to the week of basically partying. Are you gonna take advantage of it?
I don't think so. I work tonight, work tomorrow, Sunday. Like, dude, there's nothing I want more than a day of peace and quiet. That's all I want. For the 4th of July, there's nothing more than I want than a peace and quiet day.
That's actually a really American answer. And of all the things you could want for the 4th of July to celebrate the nation's independence, you just want some R&R.
That's all I want. Jared's going to Hawaii. Nick's going out with his friends.
Those are his roommates, by the way. Like, I love how Dale just name drops everyone as if they know who we're talking about. Like,
listen, you know me, every now and then I just need to get away from people. I need some time to myself. I haven't had any in 4 months, and I'm looking forward to it on Sunday.
Do you want the volume all the way up?
Oh, yeah. Loud porn.
There you go. There you go. Or you could just watch, televised porn on national TV with Joey Chestnut. I think you have that. Just kidding. So yesterday's episode, Dale, it was really good because we had some good topics. Obviously, there's going to be some bets this weekend. It's getting a little slower now. We have hockey. I think the Lightning are going to take away the series. There's some baseball.
Tampa 4.
Yeah. I'll give it a gentleman. I think Montreal can get one win. I think if I'm being generous.
Montreal was by far the better team in Game 2 and still lost 3-1.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's hard for me to think
we didn't really talk much about it. I mean, they scored the lowest amount of goals in the entire postseason and somehow made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. So respect to them. You know what? They haven't been there in almost 3 decades.
Participation trophies going your way.
Yeah. And then Tampa. I mean,
Tampa's solid.
Fucking
so
Tom
good.
Brady rolls into Tampa, and it's everyone's just winning.
Championship city.
That's it.
That's all.
That's it. The Rays are. I mean, the Rays go to the World Series.
Tom Brady brings
Bucks
that
win
with
Super
him.
Bowl.
He ended the fucking Red Sox drought when he was in Boston. And then he goes to Tampa.
The Bruins won. The Celtics won.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. I don't know. Tom Brady just wins whatever city he's in. Like, they know they have to match his energy, match his winning culture, and they do it.
I saw this random thing really fast. Sorry, we're going on so many tangents. When he was born, because he's born in the Bay, San Francisco fucking sucked, right? And they didn't do shit. And then somehow they hatch fucking Joe Montana. They have a dynasty with the Niners, and then the Giants win. Enough.
Yeah, that's it.
So as I mentioned yesterday, Dale, this NIL, the name, image, likeness, I've been weirdly obsessed with this just because this is a pretty big turning point in the history, I would say, not only in college sports, but I think in the sports universe in general, because there's been so many, I guess you could describe it as what, implications, where if these college athletes were able to get paid deservedly, I mean, they weren't, obviously, for years until, what, 3 days ago?
Yeah.
That would have changed the course of
yesterday was
sports
day
history.
one.
Oh yeah, yesterday was officially
day one.
day one. But
Yeah.
I mean, they've been in talks of this forever. So me and Dale have been going back and forth about this. And for some of you that don't know, that maybe didn't watch yesterday's episode, again, NIL, name, image, and likeness, essentially boils down to college athletes are now able to benefit off their name, and they can basically get paid to play their respective sport. And it doesn't have to just be football. It doesn't have to be basketball. It could be water polo. It could be tennis.
Hockey.
Women's field hockey too. Shooting.
Chess club.
Oh. Even baseball. They say it's America's pastime, but dude, think of baseball scholarships. Like they're not
minimal.
really there. Yeah.
You don't get full ride baseball scholarships.
So now, exactly, you're either getting drafted.
If you earn a full ride baseball scholarship, you're getting drafted in the first round.
Yeah. So now it's like, oh my God. So I'm stoked. So for today's episode, while the fire's hot, right? I want to still stay on this. So me and Dale came up with this idea, and it's hard. So, I mean, we're going back almost like 50 years. We decided to do basically like a top 5 list of the best athletes that would have cashed in, basically. Like who would have got the bag in the last 50 years. And this could be any sport. So I'm excited about this. Dale, do you want to lead it off? Like, we'll go back and forth. So you do 5, I do 5, 4.
Cool. Yeah, I'll start us off. Like Will said, if you haven't seen it yet, go to YouTube, watch yesterday. We kind of got into the NIL in depth. We kind of talked about what we think it means to the athletes. Good conversation. Go check that out on YouTube. I'm going to start with number 5. I'm going to go the most recent, I'd say, college basketball phenom in Zion Williamson. I think some people may be
Zion Williamson. Okay.
Yeah, people might be like, oh, that's kind of low, but no, I don't think so. I think while he was at Duke, he would have made the 5th most money ever. His name was everywhere. His image was everywhere. Even when he was in high school starting off.
The dunks?
Yep, the dunks were stupid. If you remember in high school, there was the video of him that went absolutely viral where that dude came in who was like 5'5" and tried to guard him. Like, as soon as that video took off,
Pray for that 5'5"
everything
guy.
took off. But yeah, no, I'm putting Zion at number 5.
Well, you remember when his shoe exploded?
Yep.
Nike would have just gobbled that up.
That was worldwide news.
Or Adidas would have been like, you know what? Our shoes don't explode. It just
like, here's the bag.
Yeah.
Wear Adidas.
That's a good one. And it's fairly recent. He was a one and done. And we heard when he was in the bubble last year, he had to take care of some off-field stuff. He was getting paid in college, so we don't have to fucking lie about that.
Yep.
Dale, my number 5, sticking with college basketball, but I'm going back a little bit.
Ooh.
I'm doing Michigan's Fab 5. So for some of you who don't know, Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, Jimmy King, Ray Jackson, Juwan Howard, and our boy, basically, Steve Fisher. It received improper benefits. That's just such like, it just sounds like a derogatory statement.
It sounds like they're getting blowjobs on team buses.
Right? Which they probably were, which is pretty awesome. I mean, just dick sucking everywhere. No, but they were receiving money, and there was a certain booster, Ed Martin, I believe his name was. All of them got it involved in like a gambling stint and a money laundering scheme. Now, it wasn't the best way to go down that way. Money laundering is illegal, but they were so special. They were the first, team to go to a Final Four national championship as freshmen. That didn't happen because remember, Dale, back in the day, it was only, there was no one and dones. There was always upperclassmen that would carry a team to a title. And for that, I mean, they were just crucified. Steve Fisher was too until he resurrected my SDSU Aztecs. But I think if that was allowed at the time, just given the nature of what their situation was, because they were so young, dude, they would have cashed out. Michigan's Fab 5.
I think that's a very good pick. If you remember right, too, they were the first teen players in history that were wearing black Nike socks.
Yes. Fashion trends.
Fashion trends everywhere. Like, they would have made so much money.
Nike would have gobbled it up.
Yeah.
Again.
You're absolutely right.
All right, you're number 4.
So number 4, I'm going to stick with you when it comes to college basketball. I'm going to go with Greg Oden. If you guys remember right. Yeah, literally. No, 2006 Ohio State Buckeyes center. He ended up getting drafted number 1 overall before Kevin Durant in the 2007
before KD.
NBA draft. If you guys remember looking at ESPN back in those days, him, Mike Conley, that Ohio State team, Greg Oden's name was everywhere. He was incredible. He was a 30-year-old, 18-year-old.
He looked like he was fucking 40,
literally.
had 3 kids, a divorce,
and
had alimony that he had to pay.
Yes. I mean, dude, he was
He got drafted number 1. He was hurt. What was it, a foot? I think he had like...
He literally never was healthy, and he still went number 1 before Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
If that dude could have had any sort of health luck, he would have taken off like.
If you're the Portland
crazy.
Trailblazers, like how much are you kicking yourself that you?
I mean, it sucks, but at the time,
In
like you
hindsight.
take that chance still on Greg Oden. Like he was that good.
It was like I think you looked at his ceiling, right?
Yeah.
As if he was actually healthy.
Especially in that day and age's NBA too. Like it wasn't like you're running the floor like you.
No,
are
it was
now.
centered around a big.
Yeah.
You had to have your
Had to
team
have a
was
big.
built around a big.
For sure. So yeah, Greg Oden, I'm going with number 4, especially in Columbus too. Like in that time, marketers.
Because you
would
were
have been-
around there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the marketing capabilities would have been through the roof.
Is Ohio State back then? Because I know they're Nike now. They've always
Been Nike. Yeah.
Oh, so they would
checks over
just-
stripes, baby.
There you go. My number 4, Tim Tebow. Okay, so the angelic Bible thumper.
Okay.
He did all the right things for the right reasons, and we've made fun of him extensively on this podcast.
Can't stop, won't stop.
I don't mind Tim Tebow. I really don't. Some of his actions, though, is what makes it so funny. I mean, you think, what did he accomplish at Florida, right? Excuse me. He had a national championship. He was a virgin, and he was a Heisman Trophy winner. He had set school records. I mean, to be on a team filled with what? Racists, murderers, all of the above. Dude, he was the king. He had Gainesville wrapped around his finger. And on top of that, he was a fucking local. He grew up in Jacksonville, which is like right down the road. Dude, think of what Tim Tebow could have got if he actually got paid. I mean, pretty good looking guy, could pull any chick, I'm sure, but was too busy just reading his Bible, which, no offense, good for you. If you're a man, he's a man of Jesus, so I'm happy for that.
Yes.
But dude, very personable. Think of some of the endorsements and some of those sponsorships.
Oh, yeah.
And those corporate companies, they would have ate that up.
No, Tebow would have been electric if he could have made money. He would have been on every TV ad we could have seen.
Yeah.
Car commercials. ESPN would have been paying him out the ass. He's a Nike athlete at the
Nissan
time.
for the Heisman.
Yep.
You know, because like it's usually like the rookies now. Well, now it's different. But the rookies who win the Heisman, it's like their rookie year, they're finally allowed to get paid. Now
Yeah.
it's like, dude, whoever wins the Heisman this year, they're gonna have commercials on deck. I mean, think of like if you were a Florida student in the mid 2000s, because you also had the men's basketball team.
Who was-
Billy Donovan, Joakim Noah, Al Horford.
Fuck that team.
Dan Bilzerian was that dude.
Fuck that team.
Dude, if you were in college at Gainesville, that would be fucking awesome in the mid 2000s.
No, you're absolutely right. Moving on to number 3, I'm going to stay in Columbus, Will. I don't even think this is near a hot take either. Number 3 for me is going to be Maurice Clarett. If you guys remember, as a true freshman back in 2002, 2003,
one.
he led Ohio State to a national championship over the most legendary college football team of all time, the Miami Hurricanes at the time. I mean, the U in that moment when Ohio State beat them, not a single person in the national media gave us a chance. Vegas odds did not. Nobody gave us a fucking chance in that game. Maurice Clarett was the catalyst to a national title that year as a true freshman. And then the next year received some improper benefits and never played another down.
He got
And
cash.
never played another
He got
down at
cash.
Ohio State. I hate saying it, but Maurice Clarett potentially could have been more marketable than Johnny Manziel, than Tim Tebow, because he was first.
Hot take.
I mean, no, but he was first. Think
hot.
about how much airtime he got in 2003.
Before social media.
Before social media, before any of this. He was all over ESPN. He was all over the Columbus News. And Columbus for college football is a huge market.
Yeah.
Like, it's a national media scene.
Yeah.
Maurice Clarett, to me, was one of the biggest, I don't want to say disappointments, because when he did play, he was phenomenal. But the biggest letdowns as a fan, because we never got to see him play as a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old. We only saw him as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, I'm surprised Greg Oden cracked your list. I'm surprised like Jim Tressel. I don't know the rest of your list. But like, I saw the documentary on him. Yeah, he had to sit out a year, got hurt, and really never found his footing. That was actually very interesting. And that was another big documentary that you watched, and you were like, what could have, right? Like,
Yeah,
what could have happened? Like, you think if he just would have if he never got caught and was able to skate through, because essentially, dude, every athlete is getting paid. Now that it's
some way, shape,
legal,
or form.
they were always getting compensated. Like, you can't, I will die on that hill.
I'm excited to see the stories because athletes are going to start coming out and like.
Oh
saying,
yeah,
no,
it's
can't
hilarious.
wait
Like
to see these
Twitter,
stories.
Twitter is a hotbed right now because we're looking at and please forgive us because there's going to be athletes that we don't make on this list. This is subjective. This is our own opinion, which is why this is fun. If you disagree, put it in the comments. But I mean, I think it's great because you're going to hear really funny stories now because you got to think they were staying under the wraps. They
Yeah.
didn't want to get in trouble.
They had to hide it.
Exactly.
Imagine these dudes at clubs just being able to throw their cash around in
Oh,
college.
yeah. And probably underage.
Yeah.
Underage, too. Bouncers know it, too, the owners.
No
but
one
they're
cares.
like,
Just
all right.
let them in.
So we're on number 3. All right, for me, I'm going to go the female route. Candace Parker. So, look, she played under the legendary Pat Summitt. This is back when the SEC was still dominant in women's college basketball. She won back-to-back titles, 07 and 08. She's already on TV now, but you knew back then that whenever she would retire from the WNBA, that she was going to go into TV. She had that type of personality. And just another very marketable, female. She kicked ass, obviously, on the court. I'm just saying, if she would have been able to get paid, she would have made a healthy amount. And the fact that she's a female, too, because you hear about this unequal pay and all this stuff, and I understand it's unfair, and I'm totally well aware of it. I think given her track record, and she was a great person off the court, think of like the charitable contributions she could have made. Candace Parker, number 3 for me.
Wow, love that pick from you. I remember when she was in college, all over ESPN. Like
she won the best female athlete for the ESPYs.
I think they won 2 or 3 national titles when she was in college.
I think she won 2, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was electric, great in the WNBA. Good pick from you. Number 2, draft day, Johnny Manziel. 5 years later, he could still be the man still. I think it's left on. That's enough said. Johnny Manziel, after he won the Heisman Trophy, took off like I think no college athlete ever have. My number 1 was always great, always would be great. But Johnny Manziel, if you guys remember, did not have a lot going for him at the time. Like no one really knew his name. Then one Saturday goes into Tuscaloosa, beats Bama, and the rest is history. Becomes one of the most famous college athletes of all time. And I think they know now that he did receive money. He's open about it, did receive money, but not until after he won the Natty. He went from hanging out with his college teammates to hanging out with Drake and LeBron literally overnight. I mean, this dude would have made millions and millions at A&M if this was a thing at then.
I think our last 2 are going to be the same. I haven't looked at his list yet, but it sounds like it's rounding out. So I'll just add, my number 2 as well was Manziel, and Dale's right. So it was actually funny because he was so he won the Heisman as a redshirt freshman, so technically his second year in college. And he actually got arrested for being underage and got caught with a fake ID at a bar. We saw the famous mugshot, and he was scared because he thought he was going to get kicked off the team. He ends up winning the job. And yeah, the rest is history. He was putting up some good numbers. I think it was September, October-ish. You started hearing it. It's like, yo, this guy's really putting up numbers. And like you said, they go into Tuscaloosa, number 1 seed at the time, and that team was stacked. Like Amari Cooper was on that team. Like,
stacked.
And nothing was the same. You mentioned the LeBron Drake factor. Also, too, he came from money. So you know that if he would have found himself in a situation where he was legally allowed to be compensated, that he would have been even smarter with it because he has the advantage in financial literacy. Also, too, he was the first, I would say, college athlete to evolve with social media.
Yeah.
Right?
No, he took off with it.
Because, Instagram was starting to get really hot. Twitter was kind of like, is this a personal diary? Or, can you get compensated from it? Yep. YouTube as well, Facebook, all of it. And, he didn't know how to navigate it at the time. And, that's why he struggled.
No one did at the time.
That's why he struggled with it so much. So to think how much he could have made, and look, that first year for him was their first year in the SEC. So that was after they were transitioning from the Big 12. I mean, them in Missouri went to the SEC, and think about what he did for recruits. Think about what he did for the stadium.
He was the electric
He put
factory.
Texas A&M on the map.
Absolutely, he was the electric factory. Him and Mike Evans were a dynamic duo back then, and what could have been if he never got in trouble for that.
But then again, also, I mean, we saw kind of the path he went down. I love the guy. I really would love to have a conversation with him one day. I know he's talked extensively on what happened, but do you think it would have hurt if he actually was allowed to get it? Because he mentioned in other interviews that he was a shithead his second year, and he said he let some of the fame get to him.
No, for sure, but how would you or I handle that at 19, 20 years old?
I couldn't tell you. I think it's hard to navigate.
Such a woulda, coulda, shoulda situation. I think that, I think that I like, and I don't want to say I think that I love Manziel's story so much because I could see that happening to me if I was in his position.
Yeah.
Small town, because he didn't grow up in a big town.
Small town Texas.
Yeah, and then get all that fame and stuff going to you,
the Scooby-Doo costume.
I genuinely could see myself on the same path that he was on. I think that's why I connect with his story so much.
I have some buddies who was with him on that spring break trip in Cabo, that famous picture with Jimmy Tatro. We'll just say there were some interesting stories that I heard. So Johnny, you're still our boy.
We love it. Number one, I'm going to smoke that Reggie Bush. I think he is by far, in a way, the most popular and cooling and polarizing and skilled college athlete of all time. Anytime he touched the football, it was pure electric factory.
Home run.
Reggie, I have enough said. NCAA, all I'm going to say, give him back his fucking Heisman.
Yeah, so again, I figured me and Dale were going to have the same thought too, because we've seen it now. I love the community aspect on Twitter now that is rally. It's like a rally cry, the free Reggie Bush. Look, this isn't because I'm a West Coast guy. This is like a serious thing where Reggie, and we mentioned it in yesterday's episode, it's not like he took steroids, right? It's not like he had like affected the game improperly to the fact that he was giving himself an advantage. He just had the God-given talent that he was head and shoulders better than all of the competition in college football. I mean, it was undisclosed, it was undisputed. And you got to think, Dale, I mean, we were really little at the time, but and the fact that he was in LA too, USC, ran the college football world, because I would even say the football world, because at the time in the NFL, we were still kind of identifying, is Tom Brady going to be the next GOAT? Peyton Manning, we knew was going to be special. Other than that, what did the NFL have? I mean, you had celebrities, Snoop Dogg, Will Ferrell, other female actresses on the sidelines at USC games at the shit-ass Coliseum, by the way. Not the greatest stadium in the world or in the best area either. I mean, USC, he made USC cool. And the fact that he's a San Diego native. And look,
the 619 eye black.
Oh, amazing. That's the area code here.
Yep.
And for those of you that don't know, he received a ton of cash, and his parents got a house bought for him in Spring Valley, which, no offense to Spring Valley, but it's not necessarily the greatest area in San Diego. It's not by the beach. It's not up north. It's kind of out there. We'll just say that.
I don't even know where Spring Valley is.
I'll be generous. It's not the most it's not the nicest area, but he earned that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He put in the work off the field. He put in the work in the weight room, in the film room. He was on Hard Knocks, I think, with the Miami Dolphins, and you got a glimpse of what he does in his workouts, and you're like, dude, first of all, he's just a good-looking guy too. So back to the marketability thing. Dude, and he was a Stripes guy, though. I know that pisses you off. But think about all of those people. I mean, dude, what's the biggest market in the world? I'd say
LA.
New York, and then
New York and
LA. The
Depending,
fact that
depending on what market you
he was in the heart of Hollywood, right? Like, in the heart of it.
Yeah.
So, and this is before social media. So imagine if he had social media and was able to profit. Dude, Reggie Bush,
I remember
number
being
one.
in, like,
Give him his fucking Heisman back.
I remember being in middle school, and I couldn't turn on ESPN during football season without seeing 15 Reggie Bush highlights.
And dude, this is when if we have any young cats out there that don't believe in the Pac, this is when the Pac-12 kicked the shit out of everybody. SEC who? Big Ten who? ACC who?
Pac-12.
No, Pac-12, dude. That's why it's so sad now at the Pac-12, because it's like, dude, they're dog shit. Like, there's
the
a laughing
Pac-10
stock
at the time, right? Was it the Pac-10 at the time?
Oh, actually, he might have been the Pac-8.
Yeah, I was gonna say the college football scene and
The
conferences
Pacific,
have evolved
the Pacific, yeah.
a lot since then. But guys, if young guns, if you do not know Reggie Bush in college,
Just Google.
Go to YouTube.
Reggie Bush highlights. USD highlights.
You're going to fall into a rabbit hole for hours
Yeah.
and hours and hours, because there's years of this. It wasn't a one-season thing. I think it was a legitimate 3 seasons. Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart were by far and away the best duo in college football.
That amazing game when they played Texas in the title game.
Against Vince Young. That fucking game was legendary. Watch
One of the greatest games ever.
I could go back today and watch that whole game and just be in awe over
Those are one of those games where if it ever comes on ESPN, whenever it comes on, I just watch the whole thing. I know every time.
My day's over. I'm ordering DoorDash. I'm watching that game.
Reggie Bush, number one. Glad we
Love it.
Hell yeah.
Love it. Guys, that is all that we're going to have for you today. Have a safe and fun 4th of July weekend. Enjoy your families. Enjoy the cookouts. Enjoy the booze. William, I know I'm going to be getting drunk calls from you tomorrow night. Can't wait to get that. Can't wait to see you guys on Monday.
Be safe. Stay tuned. We'll have some bets for our story. So adversity betting is not going away, even though Dale's undergoing a lot of it. We always tread forward. Always, always, always. Be safe. Don't deep throat any hot dogs. Actually enjoy your food, unlike Joey Chestnut. And have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. Happy 4th of July, America, baby!